Hey, welcome to Talk is Cheap and Security Isn't. My name is Kathy Pace.
And I'm Marie Phillips.
And we're back again for episode 4 of Talk is Cheap and Security Isn't. So I just want to talk briefly about what this podcast is about. Mm-hmm. So this podcast is to take a real world scenario and come up and talk about the challenges of those scenarios and then talk about the solutions of those real world scenarios.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So over the past few weeks, we've been talking about school security. So remember the first episode, the Omni layered security, how we talked about the intercom, enabling the intercom feature in the Omni, visibility and accountability. So where we added that additional layer, which was the software, and how schools can improve security even on a budget.
But this episode today, we are talking about the biggest challenge I think that faces schools today, and that is visitor management. So, visitors are coming to the school all day long. So we got parents, we got volunteers, we got maintenance.
Delivery drivers.
We got vendors, got students, we even got substitute teachers. And they are coming to the school every day. And they are, every time someone shows up at the school, it's like a security decision.
It really is.
For the school to make, right? And they have to decide whether they're going to let this person in or not.
And the scary part is that many schools are still using paper sign-in sheets just at the front desk to mitigate these visitors. So, there's a lot of really distressing points that we can discuss, like paper logs are really hard to read. Some people may just have chicken scratch and may not be the best legible.
I can't even read my own handwriting most of the time.
Exactly, I can't sometimes either. Or there's no real verification or identity if they're just checking in at the paper log as well. Thirdly, there really is no way to track who is still in the building. So we know that they checked in on the paper log and they may have a time slot, but someone could easily write 1 o'clock instead of 12 o'clock. We don't know actually what time they went into the building.
Nope.
There's also no alerts for flagged individuals as well. So we only want people that we know are authorized to enter the building.
We're going to talk a little bit about that later.
Yes, definitely. And lastly, anyone can write a fake name. So I could say that my name was John instead of Marie.
Exactly.
Anyone can do that, and that is not the best when it comes to security and knowing who is in the building.
Right. So a locked door doesn't mean that you don't. A locked door doesn't matter if you don't control who you let in.
Exactly. So what should a good visitor management system actually do then?
Okay, so I know we're going to talk about ours today. It's called My SmartGuard Plus, but what it should really do is it should pre-register the visitors. It should notify the host when the visitor arrives. It should print a badge because you sometimes need a visual
indication that you're a visitor.
Thank you, Marie. It's perfect. I couldn't have said it like that. And then you need to track the entry and the exit of that person. You need to keep your records for audits, right?
Yes.
You need to screen the visitors if necessary because we're going to talk about that and how this program does that. And then it needs to work with your access control because that's what we're all about. This is a part of an access control system.
Yeah, so a good point to note is that our visitor management system is integratable with our access control system. So what we'll talk about later is a QR code, and you can actually scan it at the different readers to gain access through a door. But we'll get more into that later.
Yep. So visitor management is really about accountability. And I think we talked about that last time, right? Visibility and accountability and knowing who is in your building at all times.
Yes, definitely.
So I think in order to show this to you today, we're going to do a real world scenario, what it looks like and how we can use it in a school setting.
Definitely.
Okay, so I'm going to let you go on with that. Okay.
Thank you. Yep. So the real world scenario that we're going to talk about, since we're talking about schools, is going to be a teacher-parent conference meeting. So we've all had them. We may have not have loved it, but it is a necessary part for schools, unfortunately. Even if you had good grades or bad grades, or scheduled ones, because sometimes they do have just yearly teacher-parent meetings to kind of go over how you're doing in school. So how are we going to handle these? So with our visitor management solution, My SmartGuard Plus, we can actually handle a teacher sending an invite to a parent for a teacher-parent conference meeting. So what we can do is, in our software solution right here that you can see behind me, we would just go to our visitor and send an invitation. So in this case, I would just hit the plus and actually fill out a new invite for the parent. So just the general information like their name, maybe their email or phone number, the purpose of the visit. So this is customizable, so it can be like either a meeting, you can even have like check-in, parent pickup. It's all customizable to what the school needs. We can also do visitor type. So if it is a parent, maybe a guardian or a grandparent, we can do that as well. And then last week we also talked about how our software also has multiple different sites and how you can have multiple different schools on the same software. Here you can do that as well. So let me show you right here, purpose of visit, meeting, visitor. Let me go ahead and fill this out so I can show you guys. Oops, let me put my email. So this will actually prompt me to choose the site building on here. And whenever I do that, oops, I gotta put my phone number right. Sorry guys, I don't know my own phone number. Okay. You can choose a different site that they're going to be on. So if they're going to be at either the elementary school, the middle school, or high school, you do have the ability to choose the different sites depending on where that conference is at. So
Great.
they get that invitation. The parent is actually going to receive an email notification on their phone letting them know that they have received an invitation to that conference.
Can it also be a text? I thought it could also be a text.
So the text is, you can get a text notification as well.
Okay, email or text.
Yes, exactly. So whenever the parent gets that information, they're going to either accept or reject that invitation. So maybe it doesn't work out for them that meeting time, so they can reject it and the teacher will get a notification, or they can accept it and go ahead and check that all that information is correct and accept that invitation. And whenever it's approved, the teacher will get a notification via email or text letting them know that the parent has agreed to that meeting, and then the parent will get a QR code sent to their phone, which I can actually show you guys. So whenever they actually get to the building, they will just scan this QR code at the kiosk, and it'll go ahead and let the teacher know that they registered or checked in this case. And so
this kiosk has a built-in QR code reader
Yes.
right here, so they would just show their phone here. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Or in this case, if maybe a parent is coming in to check out their kid and they need to check in first, they can also go up to the kiosk and click visitor check-in and go ahead and check in manually at the site as well. So that's just a little bit about a real world scenario, how we can apply this.
Okay, so then the parent scans their QR code at the kiosk.
Exactly.
This has an automatic badge printer, so it would print out a badge so that they have the
They can go
visual.
ahead and place it on themselves.
Then also, which I think is really crucial here, is the teacher is then notified that they are in the building and they are on their way down
So they can
her
go ahead and
hallway.
mentally prepare for that meeting.
I'm sure they need to mentally prepare, right? And so then also the visitor is only allowed in certain areas, right?
Exactly.
So that's good. And then the best part about it is that the system is logging.
Yes.
So you can see here how it logs everybody coming in, right? And everybody using the
Yes.
codes. So we need that to be logged.
Yes, so right here, you'll actually be able to see right now, it's just in an invitation since I haven't checked in yet. But whenever I scan my QR code here, it'll be checked in and it'll show whenever I check out as well when I scan out of the building as well.
So we don't need clipboard, we don't need you to write stuff. There's no line at the front desk. You can just
Exactly.
use this kiosk, right? The office staff doesn't have to manage every visitor,
Exactly.
which I think is a huge plus here. And the school has a digital record of who's been in the building.
Yeah, and so this isn't just about convenience, but it's about safety and accountability and knowing who enters the school. So,
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk about some points about this of why it's important. So emergency situations. If anything ever arises in a school, it's important to know which visitors are in the building and have a log of who is currently in the building at that time.
Yep.
Not only do we have that through our software, but while printing it, we have that visual of who is actually a visitor and who might need help in the building. Not only that, but incident investigations. If anything ever happens and there needs to be an investigation open, we have that log and audit of who actually came into the building, what time, and what they were there for as well. Compliance. So many schools are actually required to keep track of the visitors in the school.
I think they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's important to have a software that can help you with that just in case anything arises. And by having all these different by having the software, it helps protect the students and the staff
Depending
and
on
the
what the
district as
school
a whole.
needs, we can add different questions
You
for
can't
them.
secure a
So,
building
for
if you
instance,
don't
what
know
are they
who is
here
inside.
for? What
So
time-
Marie,
who is
I
your
got a
student?
question.
What student are you
What
gonna be here
happens if,
with?
like, I'm the
Things
parent
such
and I
as
need to,
that
like,
as well, and then we
reschedule,
can
or if I'm
also
the
kind of
teacher
edit
and
who
I
the
need to
visitor is, the
reschedule
visitor types as well. So
the
if it's a
time?
parent,
So
a guardian,
Is that easy to do?
yes,
maybe
it
a
is.
grandparent
So in our
or
software,
a family
actually,
member,
you
things
can go
such
ahead
as
and
that.
click to the
So it's really
invitations that we have
customizable
already
depending on
made
what you
at the
need.
top
We can
left.
also even add
In here,
NDAs.
it'll show
So
if
maybe
we
not
have
in
any
this case
invitations
for school,
available.
but
In
if
this
you need
case,
to
we're
ever
sending
send
an
an NDA
playing around with
through
it.
the visitor management
But we could
system,
go
they can
right
go
here
ahead and
to the
sign
top right
remotely
and
and
reschedule
then go
a
ahead and
visitor.
get that sent over as
And
well.
here we could choose to go ahead and choose a different time date and start date.
Great, so
when they
there's
move
no
to the
need for a
building, and this will
clipboard.
actually send out a
There's no line at
notification
the
to the
front
parent,
desk
letting
with
them
this
know that it has been
system.
rescheduled,
The
and
school
they can
office
either
staff
accept or
doesn't have
reject
to
it.
manage
And then obviously we'll go through it
every
again with them
visitor,
stating
which I'm
who's
sure they're
welcome.
doing now, right?
So
And the
another
school
good
now
thing to
has a
notice
digital
is
record of
that
who was in the
The
building.
system is really customizable.
So,
We're right here.
Okay.
We already talked about that.
oh, we did?
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Okay, so I know we always like to ask you guys to write in and
do it.
no, to ask you guys to write in and talk. She can edit that. Ask you guys to write in and put some comments down there, and we of course always love your comments. But what I'd like to hear from you today is, does your school still use paper to sign in, right? And if they do, then we need to talk to them and get them enrolled in visitor
Yes.
management. So,
So
anywho,
I did want to go over one more point of the visitor management system that is very important when it comes to school, is that it also has an additional option for background check. So if someone is coming into school and we want to make sure that, the visitor that's coming in is good to be around students, that it's a safe environment, that they're not going to be hostile, or if there's anything in the background that's pending for them, we want to be able to check it. So we can actually connect it to a national database system where if we just get their ID or passport whenever they check in, or if they submit a photo online, we can go ahead and run it and see if they have any criminal background history or things such as that as well. So that is a really good feature to know when you are talking about schools and school safety as well.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, we need to know who's there.
Yes.
And didn't you talk about you were telling me about it earlier, how you could like restrict visitors?
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
So they can play with this list. So if we have maybe like a parent who no longer can pick them up, or a family member, and we don't want them to be able to come and pick them up anymore, so in our software we have a block list visitor. So if you can tell right here at the left right here, you click block list, and these are going to be the people who are blocked from checking in and being able to get sent an invitation to be seen based on like their email or their phone number. And if we add that ID, we'll be able to verify if they're on that block list as well.
So I wonder if we got any comments.
Oh,
So we have David here asking if the software is also, is it an app?
Yes, so we can actually, there is an app available in the App Store. It's called My Smart Guard Plus, so MSG Plus. And there you can be able to have all the functionality of a computer software and just on your phone as
Remotely.
well. So sending an invitation on your phone rather than on the computer as well.
I had that come up in a situation the other day. So if there's one thing we want schools to think about after we talk about this podcast today, is visitor management, right? It's one of the most important parts of school security because it actually controls
Exactly.
who's in the building.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated, but it does have to be consistent and trackable.
So over the past few episodes, Marie, we talked about a lot of things. So we talked about the Omni Reader.
Yes.
We talked about for access control and the employees, and then we talked about the Omni Reader as an intercom for being able to, buzz in on ad hoc at the reader, right? We talked about visibility, accountability. We talked about software, and now we're talking about visitor management.
Yes.
So. Like you said, or you always say, right? It's the pieces of the puzzle. So the pieces of the puzzle is now complete.
Exactly.
So we have a complete system for school security.
They really do, yeah. So all these play a great part in making sure that this is a whole ecosystem that works together.
Right. Okay, so everybody, my name is Kathy Pace.
And my name is Marie, and thanks
This-
for joining us for
for Talk is Cheap and Security Isn't.
Bye.
Bye.